everyone. Welcome to Studio Sunday with Robin and Terry Moore.
That's me.
And we're having an issue here this morning, folks. I am burning up. I want the ceiling fan on. Terry refuses to let it stay on. He says it makes noise in the video, which I think is a bald-faced lie.
I had it on in the video last week, and you could hear it go on the mic.
Honey, it's barely moving.
No, it's a jet airplane up there, and it's freezing in here.
It is so hot in here.
Freezing.
Oh, it's killing me. Okay, let's get back to business. Terry is the creator of many award-winning comic series, and he's also the birthday boy this week. Happy birthday!
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Huh. I totally forgot about that.
I didn't.
Thank you, babe.
So that's an exciting week for you.
Yeah.
Not as exciting as when you turn 10. You know, when you're anticipating birthday cake and presents.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's still exciting to have another birthday.
I'm glad to have another birthday.
Absolutely.
Yes. Every birthday is something to celebrate.
Well, and as a birthday gift, the printer has decided to ship Ever to us.
Good.
So, Ever shipped on Friday from Canada. So we expect the books in our warehouse either Thursday or Friday of this week.
Okay.
So we'll be filling orders as soon as they come in, and we'll get them out as quickly as possible.
Good. So we're going to do orders. We're just going to be at the warehouse all during Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I'll just take the turkey up there.
Or a picture of a turkey.
It's just me and you anyway.
We'll just put a picture of a turkey up on the warehouse wall. Okay.
We're doing our part for the COVID relief, and we are not getting together with family this Thanksgiving, which is very odd. So
it is very odd.
So we'll be working right up until time to have our turkey dinner. So,
Turkey sandwich.
Yeah, not me, but I'll have the tofu sandwich. Also, we're participating in the live art sale going on at Comic Art Pins this weekend.
Yeah.
So go over there and take a look at what they're offering. We still have several pages available, and that sale ends today.
Yeah.
So comicartfans.com.
Well, there's actually, I think, a total of 24 or 48 pages to choose from. And maybe 5 are gone now, so lots to choose from.
Yeah. So check that out.
I think there may be other artists.
I think there are probably some other artists participating in the sale. It is not a Terry Moore sale.
You mean there's another artist?
So, what else do I have going on? Oh, an update on the elusive How to Draw extended version. We have resolicited it with Diamond for a March release. So it will not be a lay flat book, but it will be a very informative book.
Yeah, it's a good book.
So it has a lot of great tips and techniques in it. So that we'll offer that on our website in March, and it will be available in your comic shops in March. So take a look at that. It is a soft cover, and it is $18.99.
Cheap.
Yeah. A lot cheaper than art school.
That's like going to a movie, right? If you went to a movie and then got you one snack, that's
if you went to a movie and got an itty-bitty Coke.
Itty-bitty Coke.
Okay, after lots of time plotting and writing, Terry has started drawing his new series, Serial.
That's what's up here.
It will be released in January, and 10 issues, and it's a 10-issue series. There will be 10-issue subscriptions for U.S. only, available on the website right now. And we'll take subscription orders up until late December when the book ships.
Okay.
So if you would like to purchase the 10-issue series subscription, go to the website now, or at least before the end of December, and look at that out. Sorry, it's only U.S. Because the prices are wildly crazy leaving the country right now. Hopefully that'll all work itself out here in the next year or so.
Yeah. Not permanent.
No. Also, speaking of that, Ever pre-orders will end on Wednesday. So if you want to get the little mini print that comes with the pre-order, order your Ever copy hardcover before Wednesday.
It's signed.
Oh, it is signed.
And it's a new image. I wanted to just use a cover or something. Robin said, nope, new image. So, new image.
Yeah. I'm hanging in there with you guys. I'm making him draw. So,
It's hard. Drawing's hard.
it is hard. I don't know how you do it. Okay, do you have anything to add to that, Mr. Moore?
No, I'm excited about the Comic Art Fans gallery showing that we've done. This is our first time to participate, so it's a new experience and it's going well. What a wonderful website. You can see the art from the greats of all the decades are listed there. Collectors show their art. It's wonderful.
Yes, it is.
As an art lover,
Yeah.
I love it.
Good. Okay, you ready to get on the hot seat? I am so hot. Oh my God. It's just too much. I do not need to get on that hot seat. I wish we could turn the ceiling fan on.
No. That's why I'm cherishing the hot seat, because it's cold in here.
Okay.
My biscuits
Okay.
are burning.
Back to business.
Okay.
Your first question is regarding developing your own style. He says, every time I draw what I think is a new character, it ends up looking too similar to somebody else's published work. Any tips on how to move through this?
Boy, that's a big deal. That's a really, really relevant question. If you're drawing for fun, then you try to draw the stuff you like, from other people. If you want to draw to make a name for yourself, you better figure out a way to be original. And it was a huge problem for me when I was trying to do comic strips. And when I look back at it now, I think the reason why my comic strips all looked like you could see where they came from, I think it was because I admired my heroes too much. So when it was time to do anything, whether it was an idea for a comic strip or it was draw a character, I was really drawing, my heroes were just right there in the front of my mind. How would Charles Schultz do this? How would Bill Watterson do this? How would Burt Breathitt do this? When I got into comic books, I did not have that problem because I knew who the current people were, but I didn't worship them like I did the great cartoonists. So when it was time for me to draw a book, I had to think for myself. And when I did the first issues of Stranger in Paradise, I kind of upped my game on my drawing. So instead of trying to draw simple and cartoony for a comic strip, I tried to draw more realistic, and that took me into a new style for me. And I was not trying to copy Jim Lee or Jaime Hernandez or Dave Sim or Jeff Smith. I wasn't trying to copy any of those guys. I was totally on my own. I invented the wheel with every page. So between inventing the wheel on every page and trying to draw on a level of my art that I had never drawn before, those two made me come up with something that was mine. And that was the difference. Hero worship kind of gets you started, but you need to leave it behind when it's ready to do your own work.
So when you started drawing Francine and Kachu, did you purposely do the hair thing and the eye thing that you're kind of known for, or did that just develop as you drew the pages?
It developed. And if you look at the first, say 15 or so pages, first 15 issues of Strangers in Paradise, you see that the hair is a mess. I don't get it every panel. Some panels I wanted Kachu to look like she had wild hair, but I didn't really know how to draw it. And I was still trying to draw a simple cartoon style, like as if it was going to be reduced to a little bitty newspaper strip. So the hair was too simple sometimes, and it just looked like a helmet. And I didn't really I didn't want to draw fine rendered hair with a lot of brush strokes. So sometimes I went too simple and drew Francine's hair as just all black. And again, it looked like a helmet. And that's in the book. You can see it. So it took me a while to figure out, how do I draw Francine's long black hair? How do I draw Kachu's hair to make it look soft and real and wild? I had to really figure it out for myself. I didn't look at other people's work. because other people's work was typically over-rendered, lots of curls. You know, they were not styles I wanted to incorporate. So I had to figure it out on my own. Trial and error, trial and error.
And how long do you think it took you? From beginning to, this is my style.
I think it took the first 2 years.
Wow.
To nail it in. There's a big difference between, you can see my learning curve. There's a big difference between Strangers in Paradise 1 and Strangers in Paradise, say, 13. And if you look at it, you can see, start looking at details like the hair and what I decided to do with chin lines and ears and things like that. So it's as if somebody gives you a new manual task, fold all these boxes and put something in them. The first hour is, you know, trial and error. And then if we come back and check on you 4 hours later, you've got your system down. And it's the exact same thing with the drawing. You know, you're struggling, you don't know how to do this, but if you drew this same face all day, by tomorrow you would have this down. You know, and that's all it is. And I guess that's alluding to what people say about the 10,000 hour thing.
Yeah.
You know, it took me 10,000 hours to even get to Strangers in Paradise, but then I put another 10,000 hours trying to find my look and consciously try to not be like everybody else, because we already have a Jim Lee, we already have a Jeff Smith. You don't need a copycat or another one. You need, you know, we need you, your specific look.
Okay.
That's my word of encouragement, class.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, you ready for question 2?
That was
That was question
that was just
1.
question 1. Oh boy. Well, I'm sorry. You hit me on something I really thought about.
Yeah. Well, good.
Okay.
I'm glad you got that question.
Okay.
Can you talk a little bit about how you stay on schedule? On a schedule.
No, I can't. Because I'm never on schedule.
You're always on a schedule.
Yes. There's always a schedule ahead of me. There's always a date that I'm chasing, excuse me. Yeah, there's always, for instance, serial number 1, I think it's what due, February 12th?
Yeah, you keep thinking that. So, well, I think they want more of an answer than that.
Okay.
Do you mark it on your calendar? Do you know every day where you are in the schedule? I need to be on page 7 today, that kind of thing. What do you do to get yourself to stay on schedule?
I've tried all that.
You love a calendar.
I have
You
calendars.
love a calendar. You love to put something on a calendar. Too bad you don't stick to it.
No, I don't. I will print out the month of October, and I'll have my page. I need to be on page 6 on the 12th, 7 on the 13th, and I'll have it right there. And then,
And it'll be the 15th,
But-
and you'll be on page 2.
you know, but page 6 takes as much time as page 6 takes, and it doesn't care about page 7. You know, I have to just keep going until 6 is done, and next thing I know, it's Friday, and I'm 3 pages behind on that week. I actually have right here, I'll give you a close-up on camera, I have the entire book from inside front cover to page 19. These are the pages I have to generate for every issue. And I watch where I am. I'm on now I really made it up to 7, and I can look and see how many other pairs of pages I have due. And this is, when I look over there, that's what scares me into working, and that's...
So you have to be afraid.
I have to be afraid. Then I plant my butt in the seat, I put my headphones on, and I just stay here and just keep making pages off this list over here.
You seem to do better under the gun. You seem to be more creative under the gun, as opposed to some people who really get all their creativity out in the beginning in their writing, and they know how it's going to be plotted, and they know how the pages are going to be laid out, and then they just sit down and draw it. You tend to fill in that calendar, and you do all those things, and you do draw, you do, make the pages come to life and all of that, but at a much different pace than as you get closer to the deadline.
Yeah. You may be able to make a case that there are 2 kinds of creativity. one that's front loaded, where I'm an idea person and I have a lot of great ideas, and then I just need somebody to execute them. And I'm not that way at all. I'm the other way. My ideas need work, always. And when I get down to working on it, but I have faith in the idea that it's the setup I need. And then I'll dive into the setup, and then I'll think, what did I see here? What was the potential? And I surprise myself with left and right turns that would not have shown up in the original idea meeting. Like, oh, I have a great idea, and then everybody loads on their big concepts. I get into my mediocre idea, and then I think about, how can this suddenly stop you dead in your tracks and make you not turn away? So I work on the second part harder, and that's what leads me deep into the schedule, why I'm working
Well, why don't you
harder
work on
and
the
harder
first
as I
part
go.
harder?
Because I don't know.
Why don't you have page 1 be as show-stopping as page 19? But I guess that's what gives you your cliffhangers that you seem to love to do.
Well, and it may be because I just have a germ of an idea, and I think, okay, that's good. How did I get there? So I always start on the setup, which is not the cliffhanger. You meet somebody.
Have you ever thought about doing the cliffhanger first and then drawing your way backwards?
Yes, and that's actually how I started Strangers in Paradise #1. I started with Freddie and Francine breaking up in the park, and then worked the story in both directions. How did they get to the park? And then what happened after the park? And so there was that morning that went badly, and then that had more. I realized that that whole day of waking up with a bad morning with Freddie and then breaking up in the park at lunch, it would be even better if I set it up and showed you that Francine has been a loser all along, and go back and show the high school play. So I was setting a case for nothing ever goes right for this sweet girl. If I had just shown you the thing in the park, you may think, oh, she's a strong girl and she can handle this, and she'll kick him to the curb. But I had to build the case that, this is the straw that broke the camel's back.
This is her life.
This is the last straw.
Yeah.
I cannot take another one like this.
Okay.
So that's how it is. And my idea was the breakup in the park. And my concept was this girl who can't take another one. And then I had to show that. And then that's how I work. I don't work by thinking of the high school play first.
You don't work in a linear fashion.
No.
You're all over the place.
I didn't think of the high school play and then think, what was she doing when she was 23 and had a boyfriend?
Yeah.
No, I don't do that. I'm just kind of like...
Yeah, you are.
I am.
Except for that calendar. That calendar is perfect.
My ideas are like herding cats.
Okay. Do you have anything else?
No, I'm worn out. That was exhausting.
So, guys, I need some questions. Either leave them in the remarks of the Studio Sunday videos or email me at mail@abstractstudiocomics.com. Or you're going to hear me ask Terry when he's going to take the garbage out.
No. We need a lot of softball questions, very flattering.
Nobody wants to hear me talk to you
easy.
about the questions I really have for you.
No.
Okay, so what are you drawing today?
Well, today I'm working on a drawing of Kachu in a garden setting, and I've been tinkering with this. And I have some ideas about the drawing, and I thought we would try them out. And you can see how I go through different ideas and how much they can change the tone of the entire page, depending on what I would do on some details right here on her figure. So, kind of like a work in progress.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, get your eraser ready.
I have it right there. A lot of erasing coming up.
Okay,
So-
well, we will, I'll see you next week, and Terry will be with you in just a second.
Okay, maybe right here. Okay, so what I have here is Kachu holding a basket, and she's in this beautiful garden gate. And it's just, it's not the realism that I would typically draw in a story. This is just like some sort of old-fashioned figurative art, really. They used to draw these portraits of beauty a lot back in the old days. The museums are full of them. I don't know if they have long-term historical value, but they're in museums. Some of my favorite artists were just really beautiful decorative arts. So I'm not at all opposed to what we now call illustrative arts. That's kind of what Muka was. Beautiful posters, beautiful designs for menus. I mean, he was for hire. He was making a living off of his art. Wasn't just trying to get into the Louvre like someone like Van Gogh. I have lived my whole life and never known the proper way to say that man's name. Robin has a message. Okay, so first thing I was doing was fixing these arms because that was driving me crazy. They were too short. And what I do before I put even before I put on breasts, I just go for torso measurements. And I'm just thinking about what's underneath the skin. So the rib cage, the spine is going back here. There's a little soft spot right here. This is where fighters will start punching you right in here. And it hurts so much. They don't punch you where the bones are. They punch you where there are no bones. That's a good fighting tip for you. I'm not a fighter, but you need to know stuff like that when you draw fight scenes. If you're a pacifist like me, and then you try to draw a fight scene, and it's just somebody doing a bunch of useless hits, people can tell. They know. So, or if they're just throwing a punch from their elbow down, everybody can tell that doesn't really hurt. So now I'm going to get about as far as the knees and stop, because from here down is another challenge. But if we're just using the bodysuit, picture her in a swimming suit, I still need to come further out over here, don't I? Right now what I'm trying to do is get the body balanced. So if you're looking at it straight on, the left and the right are balanced and work out well. While I'm thinking about it, can I point out that my eraser had worn down? So I got out my knife and cut it back down to a point again so that I could get in here and do these. Once the eraser gets into like a round nub, that's good for big areas, but it's not good for drawing. So I got back in here and cut it back down to an edge again, just with this. And the shavings that come off of it look a lot like makeup prosthetics. So if you're ever looking for ways to make weird bumps and areas on your skin, you might want to start shaving down on an eraser. It's a great way to get little rubber pieces that you can use for Halloween makeup or whatever. Unless you're allergic. And then I just gave you the recipe for a terrible rash. So use at your own risk. Okay, I am all about alignment right now. That's all I'm worried about is alignment. I'm not even working on the pose. Okay, I think I'm aligned and centered here to here to here. And then coming down from the shoulder to the armpit. And I'm picturing that shoulder bump in there, that bump that is the delts. Is that what that is? The deltoids? That's a gym class thing. And then underneath the armpits, now you're into the rib cage. And the rib cage is actually much shorter than you might think. It's about in there. And then there's this area right in here that is so expandable in and out depending on everything in life. And then right about in here is the belly button. So I've gone shoulder point, armpit, where's the bottom of the ribs, then the belly button, and now the top of the hips are right in there. So that's where the hip points are. And then the hip is going out. And this hip is going out as well, but it has no weight on it. This one has the weight, which means it's driving. Whoops, let's show this to you. This one has the weight, which means it's driving that bone up in there, which pushes that hip out. So it's kind of like, like that. Make sense? This is where the weight is, pushes it out a little bit. So that's why that pushes out. And this is not necessarily that way. It can fall just relaxed around the bones. There. Something like that. The bottom, below the knees, is a completely different challenge. So I'm just going to get back to that later. Right now, I just want to focus on this area, which is usually, I think, the area we all tend to look at the most if somebody's standing right in front of us and talking to us. You notice below the knee and the feet when they're approaching. But when they're standing in front of you and talking to you, here's where you're looking from here to here. Okay, we had talked earlier about hair, and that starts with where is your hairline, and then think about how far it comes in on the brow here. And then also thinking about, do you have long wispies here or do you not? And I always kind of put some wispies there just because it looks cool. This hair is being pulled around. It's very thick. That front piece is loose. This is coming around behind the head and being tied right in there. There's a sound effect for you. And there's a ribbon right here. And then the rest of the hair is loose to flow. And that's the point that I'm trying to go for on all this. And so there's a kind of a wind coming in here. If I didn't have the wind pulling the hair over here, it would just end up looking like that. The hair would hang straight down the back, and I would just have kind of like, a grandma hair look up front. That's fine. You can make that work too. One thing to think about on when you're drawing these lines and you finally get a line that you like, you remember that line right there is the inside of the cheek. So when you go in to reinforce that line and make it heavier, don't start on the inside of it because you will now make your face even smaller. You draw on the outside of that line to reinforce it. What you like is this white space right here, and then that line stops it. So if you draw on this side of the line, you're gonna change the whole proportion of that face. I'll show you what I mean. Come in here and see how I'm drawing below it? The face did not change. But I'm going to mess it up. If I had come in on the inside of the line and drawn on the inside like this, see how I screwed it up? Like that? That's just something to remember. Especially when you're inking, what are you inking? Are you inking down the center of the line? Are you inking to the left or the right of the line? It depends on the white space that you're trying to capture. So let's get rid of this rookie mistake. Put that white space back where it belongs. And now you've got that attractive line once more, that jawline. So, and when I go in to add the shadow, I'm working below these lines.
And that way I save the integrity of the face that I'm trying to capture. Like that. Makes sense? One thing that helps a lot with getting loose hair here is you're going to cover up that brow. I know I'm going to cover that brow. And there is no hair that comes in right here. So what you're doing is you finish out the skull and then the cheekbone, like that. And from right about here is where hair can start coming in and infringing on the face, unless it's just going to fall into the face. And what I tend to do is once it's time to draw the hair, I try to loosen up my wrist and my hand and do it the flow. Like that. And what I'm trying to do there is draw the waterfall effect. Like that. I'm not trying to get it right. That's a different style altogether. The industrial style. What I'm trying to do is draw organic. You know what else that could be? That could be a horse's tail. It could be the way water falls off of a cliff. Think of that as a waterfall, and then here's the ocean, the water down there. So yeah, I'm just trying to draw organic. So many things in the organic world have these long intertwining. That could be 100 different things in nature. Everything from the vines in the forest to the fibers inside your skin. I mean, that's just organic. So when you apply it to hair, we accept that. Well, we go, oh yeah, if you have hair, gravity makes it come do that, but the hair has life and buoyancy to it. If she had no life to her hair, then you would draw it flat to her head. And it's going to just hang like that. That's a hairstyle in and of itself, of course. It can be a thinner hair or it can be a heavier hair. Or if strands come in like this, it can be, if it separates down here like this, it could be wet or oily, dirty, things like that. So it's fun to play with it and just see what you want. The very opposite of this is give her superhero hair. And there are people that actually have this kind of super thick hair like this. I've seen them at conventions. People blessed with a beautiful head of hair. And it just comes off like that. Look at the difference it makes in the presentation. Now she looks like a young superhero. She looks like a ingenue actress. So the hair has so much to do with it. And this may be why I don't typically draw Kachu with this kind of actress, beautiful, over-the-top hair, because I think of it as being kind of maybe not her style. Her style is more like blue jeans and t-shirts, and not that hair can't be that, of course. But I just thought one of the quickest ways if I drew Kachu with that beautiful, buoyant hair, I would have to convince you every time in every story that she is an old pickup type person. She likes to work on her truck, and she thinks a lot of spending too much time on your personal beauty is a waste of time. That kind of stuff. So I tend to draw her with a more practical hairstyle, more relaxed. She just woke up and threw it into a tie wrap, pulled it back in a ponytail and went about her business. So it has something to do with the personality of the person as to how they present themselves. And it's just, this, of course, because if you've seen an actress play 4 different roles, she had 4 different hairstyles. And they look so different depending on what hair they're using for the role. And that's why. So even something as small, even a detail as small as the hair, and where you ink the line or where you reinforce your lines has everything to do with the drawing.